In 2013, I was making $350K. We had the house, the lifestyle, but my soul was screaming. I knew I was off path, but I stayed for another 10 years. Now, this episode is for anyone who's ever questioned the cost of their ambition and what it really means to build a business that resonates with your soul. Welcome to Purpose-Driven Millionaire, the podcast for soul-led entrepreneurs ready to build aligned, profitable businesses that create a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Connie Grant, spiritual wealth entrepreneur, mentor, and creator of the Resonance Method. Here we lead with energy, calibrate to resonance, and build wealth from the inside out. Let's drop in. I've held on to this name, Purpose-Driven Millionaire, since 2017. I bought the domain name not because I had a business plan, but because I felt something. A transmission, a download came through. The name carried a frequency that I couldn't yet explain in terms of my business, but I knew one day it would anchor a movement. Purpose-Driven Millionaire carries an energetic activation, a message, a model for wealth that is calibrated in alignment, where your business decisions come from inner clarity, soul truth, and energetic integrity, where you're no longer pressured by external influences because you're attuned to your own values, purpose, and resonance. Let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with being driven, but ambition alone often leads to burnout or misalignment. Ambition says, go harder, but alignment says, go truer. And many people, they succeed by pushing. And for years, that's how I ran my businesses. I was successful on the outside, but constantly stressed and overloaded. I was making great money, but at what cost? I was good in business and I was spiritual, but I never let the two overlap. I believed I would seem weak if I allowed my spirituality to influence my business decisions, and I thought those decisions had to come from mindset and logic, not from my intuition, not from my heart, and definitely not from how I felt. But back then, emotions were dismissed and they interfered with the grind. I became like a soldier who never quit until eventually it all caught up with me. As a purpose-driven millionaire, you leave that grind culture behind because you succeed by resonating. You're not chasing goals. You're embodying your frequency. And that's what creates lasting wealth. It's about building in harmony with who you are, so success feels expansive and becomes sustainable. Instead of chasing milestones for status or survival, you're co-creating a business that feels right in your body, soul, and your bank account. You're aligning with your mission and letting your business become a living transmission of it. One that feels energetically true at every level, mind, body, soul, and strategy. So if you're listening here today, you already carry that frequency. You're part of this new paradigm of wealth, and your presence matters here. The reason this podcast exists is simple. I didn't hear enough conversations that spoke to wealth and integrity, spirituality, and success. Too many entrepreneurs are stuck in hustle or they're floating in inspiration without real results. This space is for those of us here to merge the two, to create businesses that are rich in all the ways. So let me take you back. I used to run a thriving real estate business. I was good at it. I made great money. I led a team of 8 and brought in over $1 million annually. People admired my business. Some were even envious. From the outside, it looked like everything was working, but behind the scenes, I was exhausted. My days started before my kids even woke up and ended long after they went to sleep. I missed school events, skipped family dinners, and was constantly tethered to my phone, answering showing requests, negotiating offers, managing emotions, celebrating wins, and supporting clients when things didn't go their way. As the business grew, I added more agents, more support staff, and more marketing. And to be honest, most of my clients were amazing. This isn't a complaint about them. It's about the system that I created. And that system slowly pulled me out of alignment. I was caught up in the world of hustle, thinking this was the only way to succeed. And sure, I was proud of what I'd built, but I started to feel the price I was paying in energy, in connection, and in my presence. And there was the voice inside of me saying, this isn't it. This isn't the way. And I remember one night sitting in my car waiting to show a home. And the clients texted me to say that they were running late. And right away I could feel my heart sink because I knew I was going to miss my daughter's soccer game again. And I could feel the tears in my eyes even when I relay this story again. So I asked myself, what is all of this for? Who am I becoming in the pursuit of success? Because the truth was that these buyers still had their home on the market for sale, and there was no urgency in showing this house. But because they asked me, I set it up and we went. I could have said no or scheduled it to a more convenient time for me, but I didn't. And this was my choosing. I did this so many times in my real estate career where I put my business before my family, and I wanted to be known as a person who hustled and would fill their schedule so full just so I could feel important. And it was because I came from scarcity. I was afraid that if I didn't hustle for my business, I would lose out on income. Back then, success meant scaling, doing more, working more agents, more ads, more social media, more. But now success means sustainability. Back then I celebrated revenue goals and awards. Now I celebrate resonance and how I feel building it. So one day I just made a decision. I told my team that I was stepping down. Within a year, I wrapped up my business. I moved to Portugal at the end of 2023, and I opened a brand new chapter, one where wealth would be measured in energy, joy, time, and legacy. And this business, what I'm doing right now, it just truly lights me up every single day. It's where resonance leads the way and strategy follows. It's where spiritual wealth becomes real, not just in theory, but in structure, income, and lifestyle, where I'm not just making money, I'm making meaning. And I'm doing it from a place that is replenishing me, not draining me. So what is spiritual wealth? It's not just money, though money is part of it. It's integrity, overflow, resonance. And it's building a business that feels so good and it does good. A business that aligns with who you really are. Spiritual wealth is when your work, your energy, and your income all stem from the same core. There's no fragmentation. There's just congruence. And if you can imagine this, you wake up in the morning without that heavy feeling in your chest. You're not dreading the day ahead or scrolling through your calendar with overwhelm. Instead, you know what you're doing today, and you're actually looking forward to it. Your offers light you up, your clients feel like a soul match, and your marketing doesn't feel like it's for show. It's a transmission. You speak, write, share, and people respond. Not because you use the right strategy, but because they feel you. And the money? It flows, not in a fantasy way either, but in a grounded, sustainable, scalable way. Because your energy, it's in the right place. Because you're building from wholeness, not from hustle. Your nervous system is calmer, and your time, it's yours again. And your business, it's an extension of your truth, not a mask that you wear to survive. That is spiritual wealth. So when your business supports your energy, your values, your vision, that's when it becomes more than just a job. It becomes a vehicle for your purpose. And a purpose-driven millionaire, that's someone who isn't just building for income. They're building for impact, for family, for freedom, and they're creating generational wealth with soul. And this is my soul's calling, and maybe it's yours too. You want your business to do good in the world, and you want time with your family, to be present for those beautiful fleeting moments that you can't get back. You want freedom to lead in a way that reflects your truth and to create wealth that lasts beyond your lifetime. Legacy isn't just money. It's the energies and values that you pass forward. It's knowing your children, grandchildren, And great-grandchildren have the tools, the awareness, and the means to continue building with integrity. Maybe they go to university. They start a research foundation, rescue animals, and run a sanctuary. Whatever it may be, nothing is off limits because you didn't just leave them money. You left them a model of aligned wealth, a sense of purpose, and the power of resonance. And when you build from that place, in harmony with your values and vision, everything changes. You don't need to hustle to prove your worth or push to make every sale. You become a magnet for right fit clients, aligned opportunities, and sustainable overflow. So let me share a simple but powerful framework that I use with all of my clients. It's what I call the foundation of an aligned business, and it's at the heart of the resonance method. It starts with clarity. You must know who you are and what you're truly here to do. Not just what you can do. This clarity is your compass. And then comes energy. Before you jump into strategy, you need to align your frequency. That means getting energetically behind your offers, your pricing, and your presence. And when your energy is aligned, strategy doesn't feel like a grind. It becomes easeful and effective. And finally, structure. Build offers and systems that support overflow, not just income, but spaciousness, sustainability, and growth. This is where the back end of your business matches the front end energy you're putting out into the world. So when you move through this framework, clarity, energy, structure, you create a business that's both magnetic and functional. And that's when true spiritual wealth becomes real, embodied, and scalable. So take Tom's shoes, for example. Their one-for-one model wasn't just clever marketing. It was resonance. It told a story and it anchored purpose in every purchase. That's spiritual wealth in action. But they didn't just stop there. Tom's is also a certified B Corporation, a designation reserved for businesses that meet the highest standard for social and environmental performance, accountability, and transparency. Being a B Corp means they've committed to using their business as a force for good, balancing purpose with profit. They undergo rigorous assessments that evaluate their impact across areas like employee well-being, community investment, and environmental responsibility. So yes, the one-for-one model, it sparked their movement, but their B Corp certification, it deepens it. It formalizes a commitment to legacy, to doing good sustainably, to making sure that profit is never earned at the expense of people or the planet. And that's what it looks like to build a business in full alignment, where the values behind the scenes match the story that you tell out front, where your company is the message. Now, I don't expect you to come out of the gate giving away a third of your profits like Tom's. Legacy doesn't always start with money. It can start with your time, your presence, your devotion to serving with integrity. Because these acts of service, they do more energy and they do bring the money. And that's the power of resonance. And so here's one shift that changed everything for me, from proving to providing. I stopped trying to prove my worth to clients, to peers, to myself, and I instead focused on the energy that I was here to offer. And that's when everything shifted. People began listening differently to me, responding differently, paying differently, because I was no longer pushing. I was resonating. And legacy isn't just what you leave behind. It's how you show up right now. For me, legacy means circulating good in the world in both big and small ways. Over the years, I've donated to animal shelters, sponsored youth sports, and I helped families in crisis. Just last month, I bought an air conditioning unit for a couple whose home had become dangerously hot during a heat wave. But what I'm most proud of is how I serve inside my membership, answering DMs by listening first and then responding with real coaching, offering trainings that don't just inspire, but they create results, giving freely because this is my body of work and I want it to matter. Because when you receive more, you can circulate more good. So if you've been doing this work, showing up, leading, learning, giving so much of yourself, but deep down, you know that something is still off, I want you to know that I see you. Not just the effort, I see your intention. I see the vision you hold that's so much bigger than what you've built so far. I see the integrity behind your ambition, the heart behind your strategy. And you're not here to play small, hustle endlessly, or shrink your soul to fit into someone else's formula. You're here to build with truth, to lead from wholeness, and to create from resonance. And if the old ways of doing business are starting to feel too tight for the version of you that's emerging, it's because they are. You don't need to force your next breakthrough. You just need to return to the frequency that's already within you. So let me ask you this. Where in your business are you chasing instead of aligning? And what version of wealth are you actually building toward? If your answers bring a lump to your throat or a fire in your chest, that's not fear. That's your truth rising. And it's a signal that maybe it's time to stop grinding for growth and start resonating for results. To stop relying on strategy alone and to start following your soul. If this conversation is stirring something inside of you, that's good. If a part of you is saying, I'm ready, then I want to invite you into a deeper journey. In my program, Dare to Decide, I guide you through a 7-day experience to unlock clarity, income, and powerful self-leadership. We don't just talk about vision, we move in it. And you'll make one bold decision that realigns your business with the version of you who receives with ease, leads with integrity, and expands without the burnout. And from there, you choose your wealth path. Stay and ask for more, whether that's better pay, more flexibility, or higher standards in your job. Or you start your soul-led side business without pressure, but with power, purpose, and clarity. Or you take your gifts private and build your own brand, your own values, and your own voice. Or perhaps build something completely new from the spark that only you can carry. This isn't about burning it all down. It's about building what you were born to lead. And if you're feeling that nudge, the next step is already waiting for you. You don't have to figure it out all today, but you can say yes to resonance, yes to strategy that aligns, yes to wealth that feels like truth, yes to a business that reflects who you really are, not who you were told to be. So download your free Energetic CEO check-in below. The link is in the show notes. It's a powerful tool to help you lead with alignment. And if you're ready to deepen this work, I invite you to join the Everything is Energy membership. Inside, you'll get the legacy log, exclusive trainings, private coaching access, and the full follow-up experience to each podcast episode. You're not just building a business. You're building your body of work. You're building your energy and you're building your legacy. And I'm so honored to walk this path with you. And I will see you in episode 2.